welcome back to my channel, guys. This is a brand new channel that I just kicked off. This is my second video. If you guys haven't watched my first video, I encourage you guys to watch that video so you guys get an intro of who I am, kind of what this channel is about. If you watch that video and you're coming back for the second time, thank you so much. Again, if you guys can subscribe, give me a like on the video if you appreciate some of the information here, and then drop a comment. You know, if you have questions, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if this insight's helpful for you. But today's video, and I'm going to jump right into it, is a day in the life of a bodily injury claims adjuster. As I shared in my first video, I also have experience being an auto field adjuster, or appraiser, some people call them, where you actually go out and write estimates at body shops. That'll be a separate video. That'll be my next video. Will be a day in the life of an auto adjuster or auto appraiser. Those are the ones that actually, like I said, are out in the field. Today I want to talk about what it's like to be an adjuster, a bodily injury adjuster that works in an office. There's a couple different names for them. You can be a bodily injury adjuster, you can be an auto liability adjuster. Typically you'll see most of those. It's either called an injury adjuster or an auto liability adjuster. But either one. So kind of what that entails is, really it's your job in when it comes to claims as a claims adjuster, really to kind of verify if there's coverage for an accident. Make sure that there's a policy that's enforced. So let's just take it very simple. Let's say there's a rear end accident, right? The vehicle that rear-ended the front vehicle is your insured. So let's say you work for ABC, that's a fake name, but let's say it's an ABC insurance company, right? An ABC insurance company, this person that's driving this car around is insured with ABC. That's the company that you work for as an adjuster. They're on the freeway or on the street and they rear-end the vehicle that's in front of them that was stopped. That vehicle, the person that's in that vehicle, is called a claimant because they're making a claim against that person's insurance company, and you're the adjuster for that company. So your job as a claims adjuster is to call both parties. You first want to call your insured, the vehicle that rear-ended the front vehicle. You want to call them and find out what happened in the accident. You want to take a statement. You want to, sometimes they're recorded statements if you need to. I'll just be honest with you. Some adjusters say that they do record statements on every claim. Maybe they do, but for the most part, you don't have to. Just get the gist of it. If it's something very disputed or it's going to go to arbitration later, and we'll get more into these big names and the terminologies in a separate video. But, originally you're just getting the facts of loss. If it's a rear-end accident, you really don't need to take a statement on that. Figure out what happened. Yeah, I was driving, I rear-ended the car in front of me, I didn't see that they were stopped, maybe they were distracted or whatever the reason is. But from there, once you confirm that, kind of the facts of loss, you also want to confirm in that phone call about that accident. You want to confirm if the person actually has coverage. Now they might have a paper in their car that says that they're insured, but sometimes people, they might not have paid their premium that month, or they might have canceled the insurance, and they might not have gotten another insurance yet. That's happened a lot where, sometimes as adjusters we move quickly to try to get through our claims, and we take a step back and we really say, hold on, does this person really actually have coverage? I don't see an active policy, or I see actually that they canceled and now they're trying to make a claim, but they canceled with us, a month before. Now they're trying to get us to cover that other person's damage for them. So that's kind of the main thing when it comes to claims as a claims adjuster, is you're confirming coverage and you're confirming liability. And liability is who's at fault. That's the way I always explain it to the customers and people that I get in contact. Anytime I say liability, that's determining who's at fault. Sometimes it's very straightforward where it's 100% this person's fault. Like I said, a rear-end accident, those are typically 100%. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's shared. Let's say you have two parties going into the same lane. Let's say there's 3 lanes on a highway. One person's on lane 1, one person's on lane 3, and there's a middle lane, lane number 2, and they both make a lane change at the exact same time and hit each other. That's a 50-50. Sometimes it's 25-75. It can be any type of, very rarely have I ever seen like less than 5% on somebody. Usually they'll do like 10% or 20%, at fault, and the other person's 80% or 90%. But typically you can put any percentage on there. It's called a comp neg, or comparative negligence, where you have two different parties basically both at fault for the accident, and then you kind of pay what you owe based on that percentage. But going back to it, so you as a claims adjuster, you're determining again if there's coverage for the accident, if the person who's driving is listed on the policy, should they have been driving, maybe they're an unlisted driver, and all these, I don't want to get in, this isn't training for you guys, you'll get that, as you become, as you get hired through different companies, but with that, there's also the aspect of like I said, determining liability, and then lastly, analyzing the claim and really seeing what you owe. You got to, look at, if the person's making an injury claim, right? The claim in the very front vehicle, they're making a claim for injuries. It's determining, was this impact hard enough to cause an injury? Because we all know, I'm just going to be straightforward. Like I said in the first video, this channel, I'm going to be straight honest with you. I'm going to be straightforward with you guys. There's a lot of people, especially in LA, Southern California, I've seen it, where, they get a small accident, they think it's payday, they get into a very, very small accident, right away their first phone call is an attorney, right? They think it's like they just hit the lotto. And that happens. So it's your job as an adjuster to really adjust the claim. It's in the exact term, the exact job description. A claims adjuster, you're adjusting the claim to pay what you owe. And really it's that, and it's also having a heart too. Some adjusters I've seen are very cold, where they're just straight up like, I'm denying your claim, bye. And I never was like that as an adjuster. I like to, even if I was denying a claim for some reason, I usually would explain it to people very well and let them, hear me out and kind of understand the reasoning why. It's not just, I'm not paying for your claim, like I said, and buy. It's more, hey, you know what, there's no causation for an injury. It's very minor damages. There's no damage on either vehicle. The facts of loss is that, the person took their foot off the brake and basically barely rolled into you, and you confirm the same facts of the accident. I don't see why a trip to the emergency room was justified, and I explained that to them. So really an adjuster, like I said, being an adjuster is just really having a heart. But like I said, great benefits, great job. You're never bored being an adjuster. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and there's some people that will talk about this, day in the life of an adjuster. Some of them are a little bit old. This is, brand new, up to date. But and I think claims have always been this way. But the volume, the claim volume, the amount of claims that you get per day will always keep you busy and will never keep you bored. It's literally to the point where you wish you had more time in the day to work. It'll be 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock sometimes, and I'm clocking out, and I wish I could start the day all over again, and I don't even care about getting paid. Like, that's how crazy this job is sometimes, where it's like, you don't care about overtime. Sometimes, like, I would ask my manager, like, hey, don't even pay me. Like, is there any way I could just, get a couple extra hours? Like, that's how you feel. So it's kind of a good thing where you're not bored. I hate jobs like that where you're just watching the clock all day. You're watching the clock because you wish there was a miracle that time would just stop in its tracks. Like, the time would just stop and you can just continue to keep working. That's how this job is. So like I said, it's never boring. It definitely keeps you on your toes. As far as the stress level, there is a lot of stress involved. So like I said earlier, it's really about, the company that you work for. So typically a day in life in a claims adjuster, you'll typically get anywhere between 3 to 5 claims per day. And that's claims, that's accidents. 3 to 5 claims. And remember, it takes 2 to tango, right? Typically there's going to be 2 people per accident. And we're just right now talking about the liability piece, the car accidents. There's also a separate coverage called comprehensive coverage, and that's where you get people that have vehicle thefts, or their vehicle was keyed or broken into or vandalized, or whatever the case is. So those are separate types of claims, and we'll talk about that another time. But I'm talking about and you get those claims in too, but mostly you'll get the the car accidents, right? I would say you're getting if you're going to get a comprehensive claim, maybe you'll get a couple of weeks sometimes, but for the majority you're getting those those collision claims, the property damage claims. With that, again, going back is the stress level. So that's really depending on the company that you work for. Some companies are great, and I've worked for a company like this before when I first got started, where they would have a cap. They would have a cap where if you're set at 3 claims a day, that's the max you're going to get. You're going to get your 3 claims a day. And that goes to all the adjusters that work in your office. and if there's any more claims coming in, they go into a queue. So maybe you're out there, as a customer, you're not, looking to be a claims adjuster, and you're watching this. Sometimes you might wonder, well, why am I not getting a phone call back? Maybe that day there was a lot of claims that came in, and your claim just hasn't been assigned yet to an adjuster. Sometimes the person on the phone taking your claim will tell you, like, oh, here's your adjuster information. They'll call you, but typically, sometimes, even though they'll give you a name of an adjuster, sometimes it doesn't get assigned to that person. It might need to get assigned out, or claim volume gets transferred. So just realize that sometimes, you're not always going to get a phone call the same day, or your adjuster might not be available, but they will get to you. And all my adjusters out there say amen, because we get those phone calls a lot. Why haven't you called me? The person that took my claim said you're going to call me in the next 2 hours. It's just like, man, I have 50 claims, right now on my desk. I can't get to you right now, but I will, the next day or so. But typically, most companies, allow adjusters to reach out anywhere between 24 to 48 hours. We should be making that contact. But going back to it is, if everyone's maxed out at 3 claims or 5 claims a day, that's the max that we get, and the rest of the claims that are coming in go into a queue. And the person that handles the admin part, they kind of dish the claims out per day. And if there's constantly a bunch of claims in the queue, then that's, hey, a light bulb to the company. We need to hire more adjusters because there's so many claims in the queue that haven't been assigned. I love working for companies like that. I worked for another company where there was no queue, in a sense, where every claim coming in was getting assigned, and there was, there's no max. Or I remember one time I heard a max was, you get 25 a day or something, and you'll never hit, and they'll tell you, like, you'll never hit that. But one time I was getting up to like 18 claims a day. I mean, just insane. And it's just the point where it's like, you can't do that. So if you're thinking about a job working as a claim adjuster, find out. And I know it's a weird, weird thing to ask, but trust me, you want to find out before you get there. If they do consider you, wait till you get the job offer and then ask them, hey, what's your guys' queue system, where, do you guys have a max amount of claims per day? Find out, ask about that question. Ask management that, do you guys have a max per day? And if you reach that, do you typically assign claims over that? Because like I said, I worked for both, and the latter was just horrible. It was so horrible to work there. It just felt like we weren't appreciated. It just felt so much. I'm not here just to complain on this channel, but ultimately I had to leave. I couldn't do it anymore because it was, wasn't able to keep up with that kind of pressure. It just doesn't make sense, So again, work for a company that's going to protect you, that's going to, protect your volume, where they only assign you, like I said, a certain amount of claims per day. But the last couple minutes here, I kind of talk about kind of what it looks like a day in the life. Again, you're coming in the morning, and you're logging in, and the best thing about claims is that most companies, you can start anywhere between 7 to 9 a.m. in the morning, and as long as you put in your 8 hours. So some people would work 7:30 to 4 and take a 30-minute lunch. If you take an hour lunch, you just got to work till 4:30. I would typically work 8:30 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30 is typically my hours, but it really just depends. It's totally up to you and up to your management, but most companies will allow you to start at any time, but as long as you put in your full 8 hours, you're totally good. So it's 8 hours plus a lunch. So you're basically at work for 8.5 hours, sometimes 9 hours if you do take a full hour lunch, but you do have to put a full 8 hours of work and not counting your lunch. So that's that. So you start in the morning, whatever time you can, and you put in your 8 hours, you start working, you get in, and you're checking emails. You're getting a lot of emails. Be ready to be on your computer. That's all you're doing, is you're on your computer. You're getting a lot of emails per day from customers, people sending you photos of their accident, body shops sending you their estimates, their photos, also emails from management and things that they want you to do. So there's a lot of emails coming in, sometimes anywhere between 20 to 40, 50 emails a day. So I've heard people get up to 100 emails a day. I mean, it really just depends, but typically you're getting more than 20 for sure a day, emails a day, sometimes roughly about 20 to 25 emails per day. On that, and then a lot of phone calls. You're constantly getting phone calls, and it also depends too on some companies have where you can press 0 and you can get connected to somebody else. That's called a queue. That's it's that we hate that as adjusters, to be in a company where there's a queue, because you're constantly you have to be logged in a certain amount of hours in the queue, and it's great for a customer service standpoint, but to be an adjuster is just very overwhelming, because not only are you handling you're trying to handle your desk, but you're in the queue. So as soon as a customer can't reach their adjuster, they press 0 on their phone, they're getting connected to you. You got to take their statement. You got to look at their accident. You got to give them, they have a bunch of questions. So that takes away from your time now. I worked for another company where we didn't have that. You had to leave a voicemail for your adjuster. And I was really good about returning voicemails. So that's that piece. You always are on your phone. You're always on your email. On top of that, and this job is really, you're juggling a lot. The next piece is handling your claims per day, the amount of claims coming in, whether that's 3 claims, 5 claims, 15, 20 claims, like I've said before that I've been a part of. It's just horrible. It's handling that. And then kind of lastly is handling the claims that you already got yesterday, the day before, last week, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, keeping those claims moving, having a diary system where you're constantly being able to follow up every day and to push those old claims along to resolution. As a claims adjuster, you always want to be closing your claims, and not to short pay or underpay, but you want to make sure people are taken care of ASAP and getting on to the next one. And it's funny because it's a big race, but there's no finish line, there's no end. Your end is to be caught up by the end of the day. If you can do that every single day, you're caught up on your voicemails, your emails, your new claims per day, then you are a solid adjuster. But many times, we'd be backed up, and that's not wrong. It's not bad to be backed up sometimes, because it's going to happen. The last piece of that is the training part. Whatever company you're with, they're going to train you on being an adjuster and everything. But if you guys have questions, let me know. Send me a message, write a comment on here, and I'll get back to you guys if you guys have any specific questions on how to get into claims. But there's so many claims companies always hiring, so many insurance companies hiring for their claims adjusters, claim handlers. And in the next video, we'll talk about what it's like to be a claims adjuster out in the field. But again, this is just behind a desk. Very rewarding job, great benefits, like I said, great pay, but you're gonna be stressed. There's gonna be some stress involved, and this job is really for someone that's that doesn't always have to have someone with them. If you're somebody that always slacks off and you need someone always there, then you're not going to be doing you're not going to do a good at this job. You have to be very independent and just very motivated to do well even when no one's watching. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. We'll spend some more time on insurance lingo and different things, and this video is really just for people that want to get into claims. Again, I encourage anyone that's thinking about it, go for it. You'll learn so much, and it'll prepare you for your next job. If claims isn't for you, if you don't see yourself moving up and being in a management position, claims will help you get into your next job, because you'll learn discipline, you'll learn hard work, you'll know what it's like to be busy, time management, deadlines, all the whole deal. You'll learn it through claims. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have specific questions, please let me know. And in the next video, we'll cover what it's like a day in the life as an auto field adjuster. I'll see you guys in the next video.